So a large piece of your success is the media success that your clients are getting. I mean, that's at the end of the day, our goal is to retain clients and make them happy and successful. You're getting massive media success. You have a journalism background. You've been doing broadcasting. Are you using previous relations, or is it just how you're telling stories? What are you doing that's different?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I was using a lot of my connections, but I don't have any sports clients.
We got to fix that.
Which is fine. I mean, that's even, I think, more of a reason to sit there and say it's more of the experience that is translated, not necessarily what field or specific field that I've been in that's allowed to have some pretty good success. I think it's a couple of things. When I started here too, who you listen to. You know, Mark Haley's a big part of what Otter does for sure. He was basically my account strategist. Again, even though I was a little listen to your bosses. See if you can absorb things they tell you that's worked for them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And I ask a lot of questions. So that has helped. And then I think you start to realize, okay, what would work for you if you were on the other side of it?
Right.
Shorter the better. Right to the point.
Yes.
Get me. What do you want to talk about? What is your client good at? Your client's good at tiny cottages. Okay.
I sold that one.
You did. I always and Justin Draplin from Eclipse Cottages.
Yeah.
He's been with us from the start when I started. Great client.
I always get excited seeing the clients that I've talked to have success.
I know.
Especially when you're on the call, because I mean, PR sometimes it just doesn't get picked up, and when you tell someone that you're going to do a good job for them, and then you get to actually do the good job for them, and you're just like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And there's no bigger rush, even right now, transitioning where I am now as an account strategist. When you work hard to get your client in the media, and you kind of do a search to find, Fox Business picked them up, Bloomberg that never gets old.
No.
That never gets old.
So now with your new role, you have a team underneath you.
Yes.
So you're doing more management, more guidance, more coaching, and more strategy.
Yeah.
What does that experience look like? What kind of tips do you have there?
So time management's probably the biggest thing. The thing that's been, I don't want to say the most challenging, is just trying to get an understanding of their clients.
Right.
So I had anywhere between, 12, 14, 15 clients of my own. When you're transitioning now, you have a lot more than that. And at least for me, I want to have an idea of what those clients do. I don't have to know them forward and backwards.
Right.
You know, that's the publicist's job. But I need to have an idea. What are the problems? How can I help? I also think supporting your publicist
Absolutely
is something that probably is a little underrated. And people are like, well, what do you mean by that? You know, show up on those calls if you can. A lot of times, I think there is true strength in numbers. A lot of times clients will have maybe 3 or 4 people on a call, and maybe it's the publicist. There's only one publicist.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, it was a bad week. And, they're peppering the publicist left and right, hey, why aren't I in Forbes? Why aren't I in Wall Street Journal? I think it's nice to have somebody in there in your corner that can then receive it and then professionally give it back and say, okay, look, here's what we're doing. Here's the process. It takes a little time, and I think being there is a big deal.
Yeah. Moving from an individual contributor to a team manager is difficult for a lot of people.
Can be.
Very difficult, and adds a whole new level of stress and relearning what you think it is to be a professional. Obviously, you've had experience as a project manager before. Kind of what strategies are you bringing in, and kind of what are some of the harder things you've been dealing with?
So I think the biggest thing is to get engaged right off the bat.
Yeah.
Be supportive right off the bat. Communication.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to communicate with my team collectively all the time, throughout the day. And some of it is tip of the day. I like to do a little tip.
I like that.
Here's what I do. Try and do it on your side. It's just advice, but it's allowed me to be successful. Here's what I would do. And I think that message is resonating. Obviously, hey, stay in contact with your clients. I used to be somebody who would get on the phone with my client. We probably don't do enough of that, and I think that's the generation too. But there's nothing like
texting versus phone calls.
But I'm a little more old school. I pick up the phone, I'd call.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? I'd say with half my clients, they probably appreciated that. I'm trying to get our team to get into that mode of just trying to interact with as much comfort that you have with your client, because I think the more you do, the better. And my team, for sure, has done a great job of that. And they're also working together. That's the other thing. Like, I want all the publicists to be successful. One way to do that is if you have a similar client in a similar field, see if you can multi-pitch together.
Yeah.
You know, see if, hey, you may set up an interview for somebody else, but maybe that's going to come back for you in a couple of weeks with your client. And work together. And I think that's one of the things we do for our team meetings on Mondays is I tell them to come with what's trending in your field. Let's start talking about what we can do to attack the week. And you know what? The participation has been great. Everybody's coming with ideas. We're talking about things. And, you know, that 5-minute meeting usually turns into a 20-minute meeting where we're talking about it. I think that goes a long way for a publicist if they see that the account strategist is emotionally, physically invested in their success.
Yeah, feeling like you have that support and someone to call and talk to that's actually going to care.
Right.
So we look back at your career. You've had an amazing career so far. Is there anything you would have changed education-wise? Obviously, you changed your major midway through. What if you were going to map this out to get to where you are or above towards your goals? What kind of tips would you give on that education side?
So the education side, do I regret the path I took? No, I'm not one of those people that
right.
It happened for a reason. Here we are. But I would say this. I think for anybody wanting to go into journalism, public relations, anything more in the communications field, as a backup, if you can, maybe major in a profession where if you have to keep that journalism degree on hold for a bit because you just got to pay bills or, you know, look, times are tough. Everybody goes through challenges. Maybe try and find a profession where you can get a job pretty quickly. And it could be a trade school too. I mean, whatever it is, I don't know if I would make journalism the major.
Okay.
And look, I
tend to agree with you.
I did it. So I'm going against what I said. I feel fortunate that I was able to be, I don't want to say fast track, but successful pretty quickly to do it. I understand. There's a lot of people, they're still grinding away doing another job, and they're doing, let's say, podcasting on the side.
Broadcasting is very competitive. Journalism is very competitive.
Way competitive.
And to throw a little wrench in there, ChatGPT is making it.
Heck
I don't know how that's going to affect the next generation, but you're going to lose some of that creativity, and things are definitely changing.
They are.
Especially in the TV space.
They are. And, you know, you see a lot of layoffs, especially in communications. Look, the radio business is...
We're hiring, by the way.
You are.
We are hiring.
I know that because I'm getting more publicity my way.
We're hiring.
Which is great. But I would say, particularly in the communications broadcasting, minor in it.
Yeah.
Minor in it.
And I think one of the things that we've done that's a little different in the hiring process is hiring people from different fields.
Yeah.
So looking for people with masters, not necessarily in communications or public relations or journalism, but business experience, people that have started their own businesses. Mark had his own business. That's why he's so successful, is because he can work directly with other entrepreneurs, other business-minded people, and have a better understanding of what they're actually looking at and what actually matters to them versus what a textbook says.
The textbook will only take you so far.
Right.
And I think especially in communications, when you think about it, it's all experience. There's not much you're going to be reading and say, oh, this is how I respond to this. I mean, honestly, you've got to get into that room with that person to figure out how you're going to respond. It's like, you know, somebody punches you in the face. How are you going to respond? Anybody can sit there and say, I'm a great fighter. And somebody punches you and knocks you out. Okay.
I mean,
you know, it's a little different.
My background, I'm an engineer, and I knew nothing about the space, and I think we've had a lot of success. And it's funny, every once in a while I'll see like a review or someone trying to go after me like, yeah, he doesn't know anything about public relations. And I'm like, no, I hire professionals. I know about how to build a system. But having different and unique perspectives in a space where it's more closed off is going to help you succeed. So if there's 200 people with a journalism degree, but I have an engineering degree, but I'm also really well spoken and good at broadcasting, I probably will stand above them because I have a different view and I can speak
for sure
to the language of a business person.
Which you need.
Yeah.
Which you need, for sure. And I think that's right. And I think getting different people, different experiences to be able to get into a room and bounce ideas off of, I think you're able to grow a little bit as a company and, you know, even as an individual as well.
Yeah, cross-functional teams are huge.
Yeah.
We always try to bring in, I know some of our bigger clients, Alibaba was one where we did a round table, and you had everyone sitting around and talking about ideas and how we could kind of help them get their story out there.
Yeah, I think that's, Look, I think anytime you can bounce ideas off of one another, whether they're all positive or some negative, I think having an open dialogue and being receptive to the fact that I may not specialize in this specific part, so I'm going to listen. And if I can implement that into the business model, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. All right, Greg, it's been great having you.
This is great.
Any last tips before we jump off?
I think one of my favorite sayings, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that.
And I think that's one of the things in life. If you can do that, you'll be successful. But I think especially trying new things, it's never a bad thing. And I think you'll grow from that for sure.
And how do people reach out to you?
I prefer they don't know. Well, they can hit me up, obviously. I could just give them the Otter email, right? I could
Yeah,
do
you can. So you can do the about. If you go to About Us
Where
on
can
Otter,
they find me on Otter?
you go to the About Us on Otter PR. You can find Greg's information. You can reach out to
LinkedIn, Twitter, all the other
There you
stuff.
go.
You'll be able to find me on LinkedIn as well. And hey, come work. And we've got a really good team. It's a really good business, and we can certainly get you some good media hits for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate it. It's great having you.
Thank you, Scott.